Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to talk about architecting a data lake using SP API. We're going to talk how you, as an app developer, can harvest data analytics capabilities using Amazon SP API data and enhance business outcomes for your customers. Let's start with some introductions. I am Anuj Ratra. I lead the global solution architecture practice for Selling Partner API. 6 years back, I started in this very room with Amazon, and I'm very excited to be here with all of you. Also, I'm joined by Mani and Hina. I'll let you guys introduce as well.
Hey, everyone. This is Hina Vinayak. I'm a senior solutions architect with the Selling Partner API team.
Hello, everyone. My name is Manikanta Gona, but I go by Mani. I am data and ML engineer at AWS ProServe.
Right. So let's dive in. We're going to talk about why data analytics is important and what business outcomes it can drive for our joint customers. We're going to understand the concept of data lake. Many of you might be familiar or already using data analytics in your current architectures. But we're going to describe it from our side, like what we've seen from the industry, the different use cases that you can use a data lake for. Then we're going to turn to how you can hydrate or enrich an existing data lake with SP API data to drive business outcomes for our customers. Then Mani is going to talk about architecting a data lake on AWS with the SP API data. We're going to talk about some business outcomes and data analytics use cases as well. So without further ado, let's dive in. We have a poll here. Using your Slidos, if you guys can take a few minutes or a few seconds to just answer, do you have a data lake that you're currently using? All right. 73% of the folks are using data lakes. That's great. Or the no's are rising. The no's are catching up. This is very interesting. 40% now. I guess it's a mix. It's a half and half. Let's go with that. So, okay. If you guys answered yes, what are you guys using your data lake for? Let's take another poll. Are you guys using it for visualization, analytics, general place to gather all the metrics in, or some other business use case? Please use your voting once again to see. So let's start with we've seen when we have a data lake, data analytics is the prime use case, to architect a data lake. But what are some of the things that data analytics or business outcomes that can these analytics function drive? We all know about the enhanced customer experience. Analytics is used to improve our customer experience, leads to improved decision making, and identifying opportunities that we can't see just by looking at plain numbers using statistical method. All these three things combined give you or your customers competitive advantage. One of the often overlooked things is risk management. When data analysis is performed, it can also inform some of the risks that exist in the systems as well as with the business functions where leakages are occurring, like inventory thrashing and things and so forth. So it can help with risk management as well as cost reduction when those things are identified. I want to put some stress on that harnessing the power of data analytics is just not about having vast amounts of data from various different sources. Usually, this is how we start our approach with. Let's just have all the data from everywhere, every single transaction, single view, put it onto a storage platform, and then we can start analyzing. It's more about asking the right questions, determining the metrics, and tuning the insights into actionable strategies. We can all spend a vast amount of time integrating, but the key here is building. So our recommendation is to start building with the data sources that you have. Completeness is something that's achieved over time. Let's look at a hypothetical concept of a data lake and various players which are involved in that. So in this, there are three different teams. One are the producers who produce these data. The second is the marketplace team that runs the marketplace where all that data is aggregated. And the third is consumers, which use the insights or the action that's created from those data. This is a mental model I want you guys to take away so that when you are architecting data lakes in your businesses, how to segment teams or how to form business functions that help achieve the concept of data lake. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Hina to talk about how some of the best practices of how you can extract SP API data to hydrate your data lakes.
Thank you, Anuj. Hi, everyone. So harvesting SP API data, all these different report sets that we are talking about provide you with unique and valuable data sets. Harnessing this data through SP API provides you comprehensive insights into seller and vendors' e-commerce businesses, helps you drive improved decision-making, provides operational efficiency, and gives you competitive advantage. With that, we have our seller retail analytic reports, which provide marketplace sellers with a host of different insights, from offering sales data, customer data, product management, performance data, which help you improve not just customer performance, but also optimize your next steps with selling on Amazon. Next, we have the vendor retail analytic reports, which provide marketplace distributors and manufacturers who sell directly on Amazon with information from insights into orders, payments, customer returns, and more. We'll dive more into these individual report sets in our next slides. And lastly, but not least, we have the brand analytic reports, which give you insights for branded items from keyword search, product comparisons, as well as market basket research analysis. All of these report sets are available under a single SP API role called Brand Analytics. So that will help you kind of make automation easier with SP API for these SP API reports. With that, if we were to categorize the different report sets into 3 different buckets, this would be our very first bucket, which provides you insights into buyer behavior and brand performance. First up, we have our market basket analysis report, which provides you insights into items that are frequently purchased together with items in the customer's basket at checkout. This can help you find purchase patterns and potential cross-selling opportunities. Next, we have our search term report, which allows you to get data on top clicked ASINs by keyword search and department by marketplace, which helps you optimize your product listings and identify popular keywords for better search visibility on Amazon.com. Last report we have in this category is called the repeat purchase report, which helps you get the quantity of repeated purchases for a brand's items, which is instrumental in finding your loyal customers, but also helps you find successful products that are encouraging these repeat purchases by customers. Our next bucket here is with real-time data and inventory management. We have our 3 vendor reports, which are the real-time reports. With the real-time inventory report, you are able to get an hourly aggregation on inventory data at ASIN level. It includes changes due to orders, cancellations, and other activities that may happen during an order lifecycle, which helps you maintain a real-time inventory management, but also helps you avoid stockouts or overstocking in this scenario. We have the traffic report, which allows you to get customer traffic information on the product's detail pages for a vendor's item. This is beneficial in gathering customer interest as well as finding peak traffic times. Last on this real-time bucket is the sales report, which gives you the ASIN level hourly granularity on the sales for an ASIN. It's useful for tracking sales performance during peak times and kind of analyze depending on your requirements as to what products are doing better over the others. Next, we have our sales traffic and inventory forecasting. The sales report and the inventory report on this slide are primarily aggregated from anywhere from a day range to up to a year. This is just giving you a more analysis over a longer period of time versus the real-time aggregation of an hourly basis. With that, let's look at the vendor sales report and the sales and traffic report. So the sales and traffic report is available to sellers versus the vendor sales report is available for vendors only. With these reports, you're able to get key retail metrics such as ordered, shipped revenues and units, along with page traffic metrics. This helps in understanding overall sales performance and website traffic for your orders. Next up, we have our vendor net pure product margins report, also commonly known as the net PPM report, which contains data on PPM metrics for vendors' items that are selling on Amazon. This helps you evaluate profitability at an ASIN level. So these reports are generally very valuable for vendors to kind of understand what products are doing well from profitability percentage perspective versus others. The forecasting report, I think as the name suggests, it offers you a forward-looking demand forecast at an ASIN level, helps you manage sales and inventory for future periods. Lastly, we have the inventory report here, which helps in tracking inventory levels and vendor confirmation rate across different timeframes. As I mentioned, the vendor sales report and the vendor inventory report do provide you aggregation from anywhere to day, weeks, months, quarters, and up to a year. So this helps you kind of have that different metric to analyze against the hourly aggregation. With that, this is for the purposes of this presentation, we are taking this data set and I'm going to pass it over to Manny, who's going to help us walk through how you can build a data lake architecting using the data set that we just talked about.
Thank you, Hina. Thank you, Hina. So 50% of the people did say that they are using or they are constructing a data lake by using SP APIs. The question is on where and how would be an interesting question to ask. So in this session or for the rest of the session, I majorly discuss around like building the data lake on AWS itself. So how does it look like? And especially serverless. We can ingest the SP APIs using servers as well as using serverless data or serverless frameworks. The important aspect to understand is around the serverless architecture, which helps like developers, most of us don't have to manage the infrastructure and just concentrate on the product itself. When we prepared or when we constructed this guidance or when we authored this guidance, we divided the entire piece of data lake infrastructure into 4 different types. One is around the authentication and authorization, and the second one is around the ingestion piece, which we talk about like catalog application or listing application. And the third piece around is reporting application. And the final piece around is like what we are using the data for. Like 70% of the people did answer it as an analytics, like how analytics, what type of analytics is also placed into the major piece. I'm not going to dive deep into the authentication and authorization piece, like in the guidance as well as in the blog post that we co-authored. We did talk about how effectively we can use the LWA token to securely and safely access your data. The point is around the step function, which acts as the crucial orchestration piece when we are developing this serverless architecture. So it reduces the manual intervention and create more freedom for developers as well as like business users who can view the data as fast as it is available on the SP API side. We also want to make sure that we are securing our secret ID, AWS client ID, and at the same time some endpoints, depending upon the organization, whether developers work in an enterprise for vendors or whether the developers work for enterprises for sellers. We want to make sure that our endpoints are secure. That's where we propose AWS Systems Manager to keep track of all the data to make sure we are decrypting it with the essential keys and we are encrypting it as needed on basis. The core of this data lake is relying on S3 on AWS. We store it is in the same format as we are obtaining from the SP APIs, which is most usually JSON. And when we piece it together in the analytics piece is where we want to dissect or how we want to extract it. And obviously, developers can show their skills around how we can harvest the data. At the given point, we also want to use DynamoDB to keep track of the key essential pieces that we need. Catalog API and Listings API have two different pieces, but they have interdependencies among them. Example, ASIN and SKU ID especially, and the seller ID, which are required or obtained from Catalog API, we need to pass it to the Listing API to create a seamless integration or seamless minimal manual intervention ingestion pipeline. So we're using DynamoDB for that purposes to keep track of the state of the mine and then use the data to ingest into S3, which essentially forms the data lake for us. With the serverless infrastructure for a catalog and listing API, we have a different set of application or different style of application inbuilt for serverless reporting, where if we are sellers or if you're a vendor, we have to make sure how we are keeping track of it, how we are analyzing, how we are getting notifications per se. For sellers, we have the notification processing enabled, which you could use to get the data directly offloaded to S3 by using the Lambdas and the AWS step function as the infrastructure piece. But for vendors, we need to make sure we have to create a mechanism so that way AWS step function will enable you to get notified whenever there is a report available and whenever there is a report ingested to the data lake, essentially S3 buckets. Again, we're using the same configuration. If you have the reporting, depending upon the reports that Hina mentioned earlier, you can use them, you can configure them in the systems parameter again to make sure that there is a clear schedule running, clear path running, clear parameters running, all that information. And you can encrypt it with S3 usual buckets or as well as like AWS KMS keys, customer or AWS managed keys per se. The last one is around the analytics piece itself. For storage layer, we understand we are using S3. For analytic purposes, we have multiple various purpose-built infrastructures. You could start with Athena, which has a powerful infrastructure Presto engine running underneath, and you can query the data at a petabyte scale. As you are querying the data for catalog information, you might want to keep track of where you are doing, how you are doing with your data. Athena can help with that as the data grows day by day. At one point, you probably will reach petabytes of data. That's when Amazon Redshift will be able to help you to ingest that data entirely and still can seamlessly integrate with your data, whether it's from catalog, reports, or listing APIs, or any other infrastructure that you want to build customly onto it. 60% or 40% did answer that they're using it for visualization. Obviously, Amazon QuickSight is the capability that we are recommending to use for visualization metrics, which in turn can be pulled the data from Redshift or even Amazon Athena queries. EMR acts as the analytical feature too. I'm curious to understand how you could use EMR to create or analyze your data at a terabytes or petabytes range as well. If you're interested in building custom websites for yourself on top of your data lake, but you want to enable a search engine, Amazon Open Search Services is readily available to enable the search workloads or analytical workloads on top of it. Depending upon the business use case, you would be able to use both of them. If we are ingesting or if we are having most of the data in the data lake, we want to, at some points, do some predictions. Then we recommend Amazon SageMaker to do that job to train and develop the machine learning models, whether they are inbuilt or custom built at your organizations as well. With that, I'm going to pivot it to the 3 topics that we talked about, like the solution guidance, which we have it published, and the resources. Both are available in AWS Blocks perspective as well as SP API Blocks perspective. With that, thank you very much.
Cool. Yes.